All right, we are live. Let me get this tweeted out. There we go. Awesome. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. It was a little bit challenging today, but an interesting day. So we had a, just kind of look, obviously the monthly, we're still up on the month. So we had this hammer month here. The high was 28.60. 31 cents, and so we're up to we're 18 points above that on the hammer month up. So, but right now the weekly is has gone basically harami. So the real body is now contained within the prior week. So, once again, special thanks to all newsletter subscribers, all the new and who've been with us since the start. We talked about this in the newsletter this week about the chance for a pullback this week, right? And what was the reason for that? The reason, well, we were kind of looking last week, right? But we had this huge Marabozu bar last week, right? But finished with a gap right below, and so it's very rare, right, for a weekly gap to remain open. Now it could continue all the way up, right? But eventually, they tend to get filled, right? So and it will be eventually. So the question is when, right? So actually, let me just check in here, make sure everybody's tuning in. Okay, good. We got people coming in. Awesome. Yeah. So that's basically kind of what we're looking at is shorting opportunities. Now they're not making it incredibly easy for us because these days have been rather choppy, right? So on Friday we had a 10.25 point day, right? And what was that? The high there was 2081.28, and the low was 2082. So we had a little open gap there that got filled. 2080, yep, got filled yesterday, so that gap got filled yesterday, but really tested those ranges today. But here, look at this. So here, 14-point day, 10.25 day, 15, okay, so a little bit bigger, and then here back to 13. So we have these really narrow range days recently. So it's kind of more expecting like a bit of a move like this, right? Because we hit the upper Bollinger Bands, we started getting overbought on the RSI here on the daily chart. So I was looking for a bigger correction there. In fact, let's go see how our futures are looking. So futures are a little bit reddish here, so it is possible that it pushes back down again. So and gives us a starts to maybe attack those gaps that are below. So we'll see. We got earnings coming up this week. So the financials are starting to report on Friday. So that's well, we have Fed day tomorrow. Well, not really Fed day, but we have Fed minutes tomorrow. And Powell's talking. Jerome is talking somewhere in Virginia. He's going to give one of his little speech type things. So a little bit of Fed kind of economic stuff going on tomorrow, and then Thursday and Friday earnings come out again. So it almost is like the market is waiting, for those earnings to come out to kind of pick like a direction, right? So if like the financials miss, then that's probably going to send the market down. If they start beating, then we might get to the back to all-time highs and break those. So it's really kind of a key week. So I can definitely understand why we're seeing a little bit of chop here. So kind of looking at the intraday, it's the kind of stuff that we look at in the private Twitter feed. It was a choppy day, but we had a couple key levels that we were able to work with. We got today's levels pulled up, so you can just kind of see. We got below the daily pivot line, kind of pushed down to the weekly pivot. We traded a bear flag right here to the downside. Not much follow through. Hit the weekly pivot and bounced right off of it. Got back into the channel, right? Kind of came back down, chopped for a little bit. This was your key level today, right here. So it got through S1 and it hit a volumetric level, which newsletter subscribers get because we post those in the private Twitter. So here, right, bounce off of that, and then boom, nice move to the downside, right? So this is actually kind of a talking about yesterday's momentum, resistance and support areas. So we have the RSI. So you can see here at this bear flag, sort of in here. This is basically where I took a short. Is we hit the top of this flag, we started coming in, and where do we do it? We did it right off of that 40 line on the RSI, right? So it came back. Obviously, we're bearish, right? Because we pulled down. We had a bear flag. Couldn't hold on to the 40, kind of came back in, so got a little bit of a push to the downside there. Then it broke through, right? Chop a little bit, and what else did it do? It found resistance here at the 60, right? So you don't have to, obviously don't necessarily get the, that full point right there, or that full, pick the top, but you can at least see here, if we kind of zoom into, the candlesticks and the price action, we kind of see what happened here. So you had a really bullish move up here, right? Our Bozu bar right there. Then you have this shooting star, right? So that that is a good reversal bar right there. So you don't necessarily have to go short on that. You could wait for further confirmation, right? So we have a doji, right? So pause bar down, and then here, this was kind of it right here. This is the gravestone doji right there, and that at this point it's okay to take a short, and then there you go. So you're there from there all the way basically at the high of the day, and then you have this range set up, right? There weren't really many more levels there. Comes through, pauses at the Fibonacci spiral right from yesterday, and then kind of works its way back down, then just chops between these kind of ranges. So tomorrow's going to be potentially be pretty range bound too. So it just all depends on where these futures end up tomorrow. So it should be pretty interesting. So again, overall, kind of have this short mentality because we have those gaps below, but at the same time, anything can happen. Just respect your levels, and of course, manage risk. So that's kind of that right there. So real quick, today's technical topic. Just want to just kind of continue this sort of more in-depth discussion of using these momentum indicators, your MACD and your RSI to your advantage. And so you can do that day trading, you can do it swing trading, right? And so I just kind of want to go back and reference, I tweeted out the other day, back in March, I had tweeted a really cool chart on Apple. So let me show you the daily chart there. And okay, so we'll just kind of pull back here. And so I know it's kind of messy here. Let me actually clear the create new drawing set. We'll just clear it, all the drawings off. Okay, so there we go. So typically a cup and handle, right, comes from a low, right? So it comes from a low, it goes down about like 30% from the move up, and then forms the handle, right? And then we see. So it was really interesting when I originally tweeted this out. So I drew the cup and then the handle, and I was like, if this breaks, right, it could be epic, right? Is what was the quote. And then so far it's been pretty good, right? It's gotten all the way up to 200. I mean, if it ends up going to all-time highs, that really would be epic, right? So, but in the meantime, still pretty good move off of that. But one thing I wanted to show you. So if we just kind of draw the the kind of the cup here. Right, there's your cup and there's your handle, right? And so we look at a lot of different things, right? When we look at chart requests and all that stuff, we look at volumetric levels, and other key indicators, right? But just kind of want to show you here with the MACD. I'm going to remove the. I kind of want to keep the RSI, but here actually I'll take the RSI out. Okay, so I'll just keep the RSI there for now, so you can kind of see. And let me take it out so you can see what I'm talking about. There. Okay, good. All right, so here, just kind of show you what MACD is doing here. Is it, it kind of shows you. Obviously, these are your your 9 and your 26, or was it your 12 and your 26 moving averages, and then you have it goes back 9, to kind of get the values. So, but where it bases your averages off of. But it's a default. So in general, though, you can kind of see the cup forming here on the MACD too. So what the real key is to look for a break of the cup and handle, because the whole point of this is showing trading setups and how you can take advantage of it. And so here's your cup, here's your handle, and it's like do you just take the break, or when do you take the break, right? Well, obviously that gap up was really nice right there, but what would keep you from from taking it here instead of here? And so using the MACD to your advantage can really help. So here you can kind of see how it went flat and crossed over, and then here when it finally crossed back above, right, that was a nice area right there to then go long, right? And so from here, you're 179, all the way up to 199 basically. So so watching those key crossovers, notice how both of these were above the zero line, right? And so this is a bullish signal, and then when it crosses back over, that shows like a new cycle that it's entering, right? A new bullish kind of cycle. And so that just kind of shows you. So it's taking patterns and then using them with other indicators, to give you kind of confirmation and confidence that your breakout's going to be kind of confirmed, right? And you can kind of see here how they got like really extended, right? And then when it finally pulled back, right, kind of crossed over, that could have been your exit right there. So basically, you're good from 178, obviously a 10-point move or a 20-point move is pretty phenomenal. I would have taken profit there for sure. But this pullback here too to the the 180s is still pretty good. And then it ended up continue going. It crossed back up and still to the up move. So it kind of gives you that that help. So let me show you too. We add the RSI back on. This is what we were talking about yesterday, holding those the 60 and the 70 levels. If I in fact, let me edit this real quick. If it'll let me, there we go. So yeah, so it actually took the 60 off, and then the 40. Bless you. So we have that. Okay, so now look at this. So right, so we had the break here. Okay, with the MACD confirmation that the cup and handle break was confirmed, right? And look what happened here. So see this pullback right here? Was there really any reason to get out? No, all it did is hold that 60 level like we talked about yesterday, and then it just stays over. It can stay overbought as long as it wants to. Bless you. And it then it continues to push its way up. So right there is this kind of confirmation. Hey, yeah, it's just a pullback. Just a pullback. It's okay. You could even add there if you want to, right? It's still going, right? So you still have that confirmation of trend to the upside. So hopefully that's pretty helpful. And I just want to show you real quick that you can do this on the shorter term charts as well. I thought it was kind of funny. I kind of found the MACD with Mickey D's. Oh, I typed it in there too. So with McDonald's, and so you can do this intraday too on the shorter term time frames, right? So for day trading, they're hard to come by, but if you do see it, right, so you can trade it. So here, let me just kind of zoom out here. Okay, so now obviously, like I said, the real cup and handle pattern comes from the bottom, pulls back, and then gives you your handle. But we go with what we got. We go with what we can, right? So here, let me show you here. Right, and with the handle, you don't want it to go like more than like 15%, kind of that move, right? So just keep that in mind. So it's just a small percentage, right? A cup, a handle doesn't go that far, but this is okay to coil over like here. And so right here, right? So where's the handle break, right? So we go to the MACD, right? We were talking about, right? So we know we have the cup, we know we have a handle. So is the breakout going to be any good? And this is today, guys. So so we go here, we go to the MACD, and look at that. So we have your cup, right, your handle, and then we have the crossover right here on the MACD, and then boom. So that takes you all the way up from 189, right, all the way up to 190, and some change. Okay, so a nice little scalp, kind of day trade type thing. And let's see what we got here. So what happened here? We broke through, right? We have your 60-40 on the RSI. We broke through, right? Test the 60 level, test again, and then launch. Okay, so you can combine both the RSI and the MACD with an intraday, kind of pattern, and use that to your advantage to get a move from here, to here. So it's tough. It's trading is is not super easy, but the more you see these, and the more you practice these, and the more you kind of use these tools to your advantage, it really does help. Because just trading a cup and a handle, I've gone through plenty of examples, just for tonight's lesson, just to show that, hey, unless this thing really crosses over and it's above the zero line, you don't really get these kind of breakouts, right? You kind of see these cups and these handles just kind of drift back down. So hopefully that's pretty helpful, and you can apply that both on the daily charts and on the intraday charts, just to pick up some good trades. So at this point, if anybody's got any questions or chart requests, please plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can, ideally before 10 o'clock, so everybody can get a good night's sleep, so we can have a good trading day tomorrow. So there we go. Pratesh, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Shirley, how are you? Welcome, as always. Joseph, what's going on, buddy? SMDC, Bowhead and Gang, what's up? Nikolai, what's going on? Good to see you. Paul, what's going on? It's quite a day today. NetFry, how are you? Patchy, what's going on? Thoughts on Roku? Okay, great. Let's pull up Roku and just kind of see what it did today now that we're on this chart. Okay, so Roku's pretty interesting, right? So we had this gap down, right? The other day, right 2 days ago, and then it just kind of chopped around, kind of pushed itself up back in, and it kind of is coming back to those levels. So just kind of real sluggish, like intraday, type stuff. But let's see how we're looking here on the daily. I'm going to take the MACD off so we can see. There. Okay, so Roku's had this pretty phenomenal run, and so it had this big gap up right on earnings, nice bull flag here to the upside, kind of came back down, held this trend line, nice consolidation, then back up to volumetric level, down. Okay, so now it after it had inside day gap down, right, and now it's kind of giving you like this essentially like the shooting star type pattern at volumetric resistance, right? So at this point it's starting to get actually a little bit scary, because let me show you what it looks like on the candlesticks, right? So right here it's got that kind of inverted hammer type thing. So now inverted hammers can be bullish, right? So right, so especially at the bottom of a move, so, and you're also at some cloud support here, so it's scary because you had a hammer and this kind of countered that hammer move, and that could give you that potential push down the downside. So really, you just have to watch these key levels. So you saw the last 2 days, it's kind of been chopping around in this range, right? So so here at this point, you kind of want to watch and see. You could even use this level here, this high, the 61 kind of 15, and then see if you can get some momentum to break through that tail, get you a tail fail up here to fill the gap and retest that level. So that's potential to the long side. But the short side, right, you've got a death cross here on the 510 MA, and then if you're also under the 50 MA, so at this point, you have some cloud support here. If it can't hold the cloud, then you got your 200-day moving average here at 52. So this is a really very interesting bar, right? It is a potential reversal bar, but it's also a potential continuation bar, depending on how the price action goes. So if you short here, on a break of the hammer, even if you broke that level there, that 59.30, right? You could get a quick point off of that to the cloud, and then to see how it acts around there, and then if it gets back in the cloud, then you could kind of work its way back down as a potential swing. So that looks interesting. Chris, what's going on? BSX. Let's take a look. Boston Scientific. Oh, Boston Scientific is in the cloud, hanging out. Okay, cool. So we had a nice inside day the other day, right? Kind of, tried to break it to the downside, but came back inside that range, right? Still kind of inside this range too, but I did like this topping tail here, right? So I did like that. Kind of took out a couple different pivot levels, and then actually it is kind of looking constructive, just because of that. So because you have your bottoming tail here at consolidation day, and it might start working itself up. If not, right, then you're in the cloud, right? So it could retest the bottom of the cloud too. But ideally, if you kind of have long sentiment on it, I would like to see it kind of get its way up there, and then hopefully break out at some point here. But more than likely, it'll probably just chop around, until it gets here's earnings right here on when is that? The 24th, and then then it might kind of pop out, or I don't know, but definitely good one to keep on the watch list there. It's sort of in the middle of the range. Nikolai, yeah, let's take a Lulu, Starbucks, and Baba, a couple really good ones there. Let's see, so Lulu. Yeah, so Lulu's been really interesting, right? So it gave us a double inside day not too long ago, right? It did give us, open in the range. It tried to the upside, tried to the downside, so a lot of playing inside the range there. But, in terms of a long sentiment, like once it kind of broke down here and then came back up, right? If that was a swing, you had this nice bar the next day and then got you, through that earnings gap level, right? And then decided to come back down because Lulu is Lulu and it likes to do stuff like that. So you have this down move, pause, down, then back up. So to me, it looks like it, tried to do a measured move down and then, kind of caught itself today. And so at this point, it looks like it'll probably just chop in this, kind of earnings level. So I would just kind of keep these key levels, in mind. So 171, 50, 171.69. These are kind of like key levels to break right here. So if you kind of draw a line, at the top of those levels, right? Kind of see that was the top of here. So you kind of want to get through there, and you might see a new spike to highs. If not, right, tail fail. You got a big gap below it too. So, but it looks like it's working on some consolidation here, especially after a big move. Usually they chop around for a bit, and if you can catch those double inside days, you can usually get a move after a big gap up. Starbucks. S-Bucks inside day, very nice. So 3 green days in a row, green bars in a row. Even when the markets been a little bit rough. So let's see what it does. So if it takes the inside day up, that break could take out those highs here, but watch the downside too. If it takes that down, it could retest all these levels below it. So so it's just kind of in a really interesting position right now. It got out of the upper Bollinger Band kind of range, and then it's now it's just kind of consolidating. So that's probably the most interesting part of it is the inside day. So kind of see how it handles that. And then Baba. Yeah, Baba's it's been very complex, right? So it's what's really interesting though is it's putting a squeeze together, right, or a TTM squeeze essentially. So you have your Bollinger Bands are inside the Keltner channels, right, and it looks like it's going to break out to the upside at some point here. So pretty close. So you had this, but you've already had a pretty huge run so far to get that breakout. So my guess is that it'll probably like chop a little bit and then give you another push to the upside. So that if this stays kind of true, everything's starting to point up here. So and it got through some key levels, right? So I know you can't really see it here, so I'm going to start moving over to the kind of the daily chart here. So you got the bar chart. So you kind of see here, I have this pitchfork. Here's your median line, top and bottom. So this reaction line right here was a bull flag, and we've broken that, to the upside. So, very possible it comes back down, retests, this 183 level, and then goes. So, kind of there. Prayer Kid, what's going on, man? Glad you made it. What's up? Glad to see you. Good job today. Bargav, what's up? It's going good. Thoughts on GS going into earnings next week? Yeah, so I think a lot of the banks are going to set the tone, obviously, like Monday, just kind of see how that goes. So Goldman's been pretty tough to keep down, really. So kind of came down here, and then and that was it. Right, so this was obviously back in December like everything else, but then it's shocked with like some pretty stellar earnings, right? Pulled up, and then it's just been kind of chopping in this range for a very long time. So this is kind of your key level: resistance, 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 and we're in that resistance level now. So at this point, we need to see whether earnings is going to take us out of that resistance level and give us a more push to the upside. If not, it might end up back into this pitchfork range where it traveled for so long. Let me show you how long it was in there. A very long time, right? So we're, since July. Actually, here's the real big channel right here. If I extend that to the right now, there. So we're actually in that channel. So that makes it look even more interesting because here we are, we're pivoting right at the top of that channel, and it really traveled through that for a very long time since January of 2018. So up, down, right, chop, 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 up, middle, up, down, and then it finally broke down a little bit, but couldn't stay out of the channel, and then back in, right? So that was out there. Oh, before we move, I do have a special request to through the DM for Netflix. So let me put Netflix up there. Not that it was a live DM, but it was tweeted to me earlier. So Netflix is pretty interesting, right? So it's been oh my goodness, it's been working its way on this fib. I've got a big fib fan line here, from a prior kind of low zone all the way up to the all-time highs, and so it's just been kind of holding on to this middle fib fan line, right, and kind of working its way up this channel. And so right now it's been kind of testing here, this 357, kind of on up. We actually traded this when we came up from December. I don't know if y'all remember, but I did a straddle here, publicly on Netflix, and it ended up being profitable within like 2 days because it hit that key 350 level, and or was it 360? It hit like 360 level, and then boom, kind of moved like 10, 20 points on that really quickly. So it made a real profitable strategy. Because I was like, okay, this thing's been, parabolic, almost vertical. So, I mean, I guess it could keep going all the way up, but if not, at least here's an opportunity to capitalize on it either way. I thought, I figured it would move at some point. So after this huge move, it's just been consolidating its way up this channel here. So my guess is maybe, kind of a little bit push to the downside, then back up. But let's see. There's your weekly. It's just kind of, like I said, still kind of been chopping there. There's nothing really definitive. And then here, definitely a bullish day today. Just kind of pulled back a little bit at the end, but still has a chance to work its way, retest that 370 level, which is on the fib fan. If not, it might 50-day moving average 357. It's just been really, really choppy, and I think it's probably gonna stay that way until earnings. Then you'll get that that vol crush, and then be able to start trading options again. They'll start getting expensive, pretty soon. So definitely something to look at there. So hope that was helpful. But yeah, sorry, Paul, I wasn't skipping over. I just was going to just a reminder of the DM request. So TNDM, bullish setup. Yeah, I mean, definitely. So bullish engulfing bar today. So that's a good thing. And essentially your Akiri too. So, you're basically right at that mid Keltner on the daily. Let's see how it looks on the weekly. So weekly, you're still contained within the prior week's bar. So you just got to get outside of that, which is a high of 65.11. So that's not too far away. That could get a nice break. Where is that on here? 65.11 is not too far away. It's actually, yeah, we kind of passed it already today. So let's just see if it can get back above that. And let's see how we're looking volumetrically here, kind of on the daily. Okay, cool. So we've been tracking this a little bit. So, kind of pitchfork here, right? It's kind of working its way up, held the median line, kind of came back in. You have that gap there. So consolidation, yeah, with a potential move to the upside. So just watch out for this kind of island top, head and shoulders, right? So if it breaks that neckline, you have your pitchfork support here, but if you can't hold that, you've got your gap and volumetric below. So, but it does look interesting. Thanks for the good day. Oh, no problem. No problem, call. So anything I can do to help. So I'm glad ideas help. That's what I love doing. Victor, what's going on, man? Still holding CGC. Oh, hey, Victor, what's going on? Yeah, so CGC, I think it's looking good. I almost added a position again. I just didn't want to be obnoxious about it, right? So here's the deal. I mean, it's right, nice pullback here, right, into this Fibonacci. This was the key level today. If you guys saw it, when I tweeted it out earlier in the private feed, but this is from this fib fan lines are not just temporary, right? They're from this major low right here all the way up to the all-time high, right? So these levels are kind of big major levels, right? And you can kind of see how they're being held, right? So we chopped around this level here, and so now it's, in my opinion, is just retesting this area, and this is a nice consolidation zone. You got this pennant pulling up. I think this thing's going to bust out, and honestly, when the markets kind of go down, these guys, wellness stocks tend to get a little bit of a push to the upside. So, I think it's okay, but I would definitely have a stop, under today's lows, or worst case scenario, $40 and. I think that I did 41. Yeah, so $40 and 44 cents. Just stay under the lows of that last pivot bottom here, right? So hit that fib fan line again, try to work its way up. So I wouldn't let it go far below there, but then nice hold there and then to the upside. I'm going to look again tomorrow to see if there's another potential entry. I was going to hold it overnight or take another entry, but I didn't want to take too many trades, right? So. And it's worth holding, and really honestly, if you go here to the look what it did. I mean, this is the key level. It looked like it was pausing out here, so it was a good opportunity to check long, but it definitely wanted to test that fib fan area, and then it kind of came back up. So I mean, it was very constructive to the end of the day. So it looks like it's kind of poking up a little bit too after hours. So I mean, it could get a little push, and then I think it looks good. So that's my thoughts on CGC, but with a stop where I was saying earlier. So. Or wherever you're comfortable, right? So, but I would give it just that little bit, at least here. Don't let it take out that 41 at today's low, because that was under the fib fan line. If it wants to get below the fib fan line, right, it's done. But I liked how that was a nice hammer today, right below that. So, TuneFed, what's going on, man? Hope you're doing well. La Machine Polonaise. Hello, everyone. Great stuff. MACD, RSI. Good. Amazon and GDX, please. Sure, yeah. So Amazon. So Amazon, we talked about this yesterday, right? And I know, of course, overall, right, very bullish, right, big move and all that stuff. But for day trading, and kind of cash flow and all that stuff, we just kind of have to look. So this was a key level, and remove that. But you can see here we've got some bearish divergence on the RSI, right? So right now, basically here to here, however you want to look at it, right? So it's might be ready to at least come and retest this inside week level from last week, right? So this 1810, then just kind of see how it handles it, right? Because we had this bull flag right here, kind of break out on the inside week up. We had a double, I think it was a double, triple inside 60, the other day at the inside week to the up. So that gives a nice push, and then here we are pivoting at the upper pitchfork level, and so pivots at pitchforks, kind of indicate reversals, right? So it pivoted here, it kind of went back down, so it's kind of up here again, and so just something to be mindful of, right? So it does have a little bit of a bullish feel to it, right? But we'll see if obviously the market's strong. Amazon usually goes with that. So and then GDX. All right, so GDX. Yeah, we've been looking at this, a couple different ways, but I do like how it's doing this like upward megaphone type style. It's just got to get. Obviously, it's looking bullish. The gap above here at 2294, this volumetric level is going to be key to get through that 23 level. Then you might get a push to the upside. So it is kind of gearing up. Looks to me like it's gearing up for a move. And then NG futures net gas, sure, NG. Natty gas. So we're heading into the summer months, right? So probably a little less natural gas going to be used, right? So just watch how it holds that level, that basically 293, right? But my guess is it would at least test like that 254, right? So, but it tends to hold that really, really well. So it's just kind of in this channel right now, this horizontal channel between 290 and 250. So kind of up, down, up, down. But if it could get above that 295, right, you might spike. But with the hot months, I would expect it at least to retest those lows there. Hopefully that's helpful. Jay, what's going on? Hello, hello. What do you think about using ETFs with the market being so choppy? Yeah, I think it's well. Here's the deal, Jay. I mean, we all trade and we all want to be successful, right? But some days just aren't great for trading. Now tomorrow is going to be interesting, right? So I trade SPX, but anybody who's in the private Twitter feed, SPX moves really fast. So if you don't want to trade SPX, you can just use SPY, and you can still make money off of it, right? But choppy markets are tough, right? So you just have to wait for those moves, but you want to also be prepared for it when those moves happen. So you got to take your setups, right, for that to be the case. That's why I took a bear flag today, because I'm waiting for that gap fill, and it's like if that's the one, right? So you got to at least give it a shot, and then preserve as much profit as you can and try to stay in. I mean that's right. That's the name of the game, right? So, yeah. See, I definitely think trading the ETFs is fine. I mean, you just have to trade your right setups, right? So, I mean, if you're talking about just holding and going long and all that stuff, I mean, yeah, I mean it could work, but I mean this, who knows where we're at? This could be an A. We could have a big B up here and then just boom, another push to the downside again, right? So you have to be careful of that if you're just buying and holding, right? So, but I don't think that's necessarily what I mean. But I mean, here when you go in and I tweet these out every night to the newsletter subscribers and stuff, but I mean they're easy. We've done lessons on these before to get these levels, right? But so I put these levels in, and so today this was it. This was the range that we were in. So we're between S1 essentially and S2, and and the weekly pivot played a big role today. So so if you can trade within those ranges and you can be profitable, like this here wasn't a major move. It wasn't a 10x trade on the options, but it was a 2x trade. Right, so I mean that's still pretty good. And here's a 50% trade that we took earlier, right? So I mean these are good. You could still trade this in in any market, right? So now tomorrow is going to be interesting. So tomorrow we're opening, well, depending if we're flat, we're opening right. If we open where we are, we're between the weekly pivot and the daily pivot. So we don't like to be caught right inside these ranges, right? So because we don't know which way it's going to break out. It doesn't give us a good reversal idea, so we kind of have to see where we are. But if we gap down below this, I think we could definitely see 2872. So we'll look at that. But it's it could get, if we stay in this range, it could be very, very choppy. And then we have Fed talking tomorrow until 2 o'clock, and so it might be choppy until 2, right? So we just have to be just kind of going to each day, just kind of knowing or at least planning something about what's going on based on the way we trade, right? So if you have levels, you can kind of be like, okay, where am I at in those levels, right? Or if you just use candles, just look to see how the price action is and the way it's moving. So, but I think you could do it ETFs, whatever, as long as it's an ETF that's liquid and and the spreads aren't too bad, right? So because you don't want to get caught, because I think what is it, IBB or the biotech one, that's really tough to trade unless you just get a big move on it. But anyway, Shirley, what's going on? All right, let's check out Diz, and then let's see, there, let's go Diz. Okay. So Diz was pretty phenomenal, right? So it gave that kind of fake out move. Where was that? Just the other day, recently, right? So this big push down here that it did, kind of at the end of March, was just such a fake out move, and then it just launched after that, right? So it kind of hit these key levels and then kind of launched. So at that point, right, where do we got? Where are we? Let me remove some of these Fibonacci's there. Okay, so we are at, is that one of mine, or is that's an old trend line? Okay, that's an old trend line. Okay, yeah, so here, let's try to see exactly what everything looks like, where our volumes are. Yeah, so lots of volume below, lots of volumetric levels low, but it's been holding this level here, held, right? And to me, it just looks like it's continuing to go up. So I mean, you've got this, already got a trend line starting here, right to there, and so it's just kind of working. I mean, I guess if it could pull back a little bit again, but to me, it looks like it does want higher consolidation. At which point, I think your levels are good there. Twitter, guys, this was a 60 anchor yesterday. I did not take this trade today. I stared at it because the market was going down right at the open, and yeah, it's a this is the best trade of the morning, and I was just like staring at it, and it was so we had our 60 anchor yesterday, and that break of that ended up being really strong today. Now it did come back down a couple times, right, to test it, but then it just really launched, and it was tough because the Nasdaq was going down and this was going up, and I understand that it's relative strength, but it's when I trade these, I want to have like some market behind it too. So, but it did prove its mettle today. So at this point, it's looking very bullish, right, because it held up when everything was down. It's green on the day. Now you've got kind of like a bull flag here on the hourly, so you could get a push again to the upside there, and looks like you got an inside 60 anchor again for tomorrow, so that looks pretty interesting too. And then plus your levels, I think long term are very interesting. So PHAS, yeah, so just watch out there, Shirley, for that 37.42. If you get through that, then you've got some gap fill potential. FAS, yeah, amazing. Hyperbolic. Just a huge vertical move up there. Just incredible. I don't know what to say. Maybe just a consolidate and then potential move, right? SHLDQ. I'm not sure if that'll come up, surely, but DQ. Sears. Yeah, I mean, I can't even chart this thing, right? I mean, it's just been here for a long time, but it is starting to perk up a little bit. So, it could move. It's $1 now, so it's getting there pretty strong. CPB. What's CPB been doing? I haven't looked at this in a long time since the family's been fighting over the business and all that stuff. Been pretty funny. So I mean, ultimately, the only thing I'd just be careful about, Shirley, is that you have this, right? I mean, you have that's a kind of a bigger trend line here, but it has been downtrending, right? This was your first break, so watch that level there, that 41.70, right, for a potential push there to that 47. So just keep an eye on that. Okta. Super duper. Look at that. All the way at the top of our pitchfork. And so here, just use a little bit of caution, right? Because if it does decide to pivot, right, it could come back down, at least test that median area. If not, it could break through it and then hold and then back up. So, but yeah, pretty amazing one there. MGY. Is that it? Okay. Lows to highs. Okay, it kind of reached its first kind of resistance point, but got through volumetric, so hopefully consolidation and then move. So that looks interesting. HA. Interesting kind of channel it's in right here, Shirley. So just kind of keep an eye on that. There, kind of there, right? Sort of, yeah, right, kind of like there. So yeah, but kind of middle of the range, definitely a shot, at the upper part of that channel. And then QTS. Did I skip over one? CHD. So yeah, I mean, it's got some stuff. Potential. So, get over that 48.60, right? Then you got that 53 level. So that looks interesting. CHD. I thought it was on CHD earlier, but it was HA. Church and Dwight. Very interesting. Yeah, I'm just kind of working its way up on this one. So I think, levels are sensible. Just watch for a pullback. Kind of a bit of a channel here too. Right? So just watch that. Watch that. Yeah, so should have drawn that channel if it would let me there. Kind of like that. So just be careful of the top of that channel. Good. Is GDX printing a head and shoulders? Let's see. So GDX. Depends what. I'm not sure what time frame you're looking at, but daily it doesn't look like it too much. Let's see. No, I mean, I mean, maybe like a maybe that was one, at some point, but it, kind of broke down a little bit, kind of came back in. If anything, maybe like a double top, right? So, a weak double top, right? So you had, high and then lower high, but because we'd rather see a higher high where it just couldn't take it anymore and then back down. So at this point, it's as soon as gold's really tough to trade. It's a little bit tricky, right? Any of these, kind of gold miners and all that stuff. So it is starting to look constructive, and then you do have the gap above, but I mean, maybe kind of here, a little bit. So it's just a little too tight to say. I would rather see like a bigger, like this would have been a nice shoulder, and then a little bit of a head, and then a shoulder, that type of thing. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there. No problem, my pleasure. XLF for bank earnings, yeah, Victor, yeah, it's definitely something to look at. So we've got chop as we'd expect here. So let's see. Pitchfork levels down, tested pitchfork back up. I mean, if anything, it's kind of like a megaphone, what it's kind of doing right here. I mean, it's just right. So just kind of and it's in the middle of the range. So let's see. I mean, if earnings are good, boom. If earnings are bad, down. Right. I mean, but yeah, nothing really compelling. But it is looking kind of sluggish. So, but they could definitely surprise. Free rolling some JD 30 strike calls with upcoming expiry. What would Bubblehead do? So let's see. So we've got JD. How about old JD? I mean, this is just such a tough stock to trade. It's just look at how quick those waves are. I mean, it's like the pivots are like every other day. So if you can muscle your way through this, I do kind of like that cup and handle, kind of type setup. I like here that the RSI is staying bullish. So yeah, so I think it looks pretty good, and I think it looks like it wants to. I do think it wants to get up to this mid pitchfork level, although it might kind of chop its way up there. So definitely something to look at there. Let's just take a look at the MACD. Just throw it up there to go with today's discussion. Auto zoom. Yeah, just look at this. I mean, even the MACD's like, it's just nothing really obvious. But they did cross over recently, so it is a, and that was right there. So it's kind of like a cup and handle, mini cup and handle break there. But yeah, just look how just so crazy choppy it is. But yeah, I think you got a chance up there to at least touch that mid pitchfork level. So good stuff, Toon. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Jay. Cool one. Yeah, Okta. Yeah, I mean, Okta, it's high up there. It'd be tough for me to buy it that high, but it doesn't mean it can't keep going. So good. Yeah, Love Machine, awesome. And NetFry, thank you. We reviewed Netflix, for those out there in DM land, and thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to all new subscribers to the Positive Trends newsletter. You can subscribe. The link is in the description there if you're not already, and really appreciate it. We do lots of cool stuff in there. We show pivot levels. We do daily videos. We answer questions by videos. The newsletter itself is really awesome, and so yeah. So anyway, appreciate all you guys as always, and have a great night, and stay safe. Remember your risk first and stay safe so you can stay in the game, and have a great trading day tomorrow. I'll talk to you guys then.